Chosen one, August 1 may begin with a strange contradiction. Part of you may feel as though nothing is happening. You wake up, look at your surroundings, and see the same responsibilities, the same unanswered questions, and perhaps even the same people behaving in the same familiar ways. But another part of you knows that the atmosphere has changed. You may feel unusually alert. Your mind may begin connecting things you ignored throughout July. A conversation from weeks ago may suddenly make sense. A decision you kept postponing may no longer feel optional. Someone you were emotionally attached to may cross your mind, but instead of feeling the old urgency, you may wonder why you spent so much time trying to make the situation work. This is how August begins. Not with every answer delivered at once, but with the feeling that your old pace is no longer possible. The next month may become one of the most unpredictable periods you have experienced in a long time because several areas of your life may begin moving at once. A relationship may change while a work opportunity appears. A financial decision may become urgent while an old person returns. You may feel ready to begin something new at the exact moment the past attempts to regain your attention. That combination can make August feel chaotic. It can also make it transformational. You are entering a period where delays may end quickly, but you will need enough clarity to recognize which movement belongs to your future and which movement is simply the past reacting to the fact that you are finally leaving it. That distinction will matter. Not everything that returns in August is meant to remain. Not every sudden opportunity deserves an immediate yes. Not every emotional feeling is a divine instruction. The month may move faster than July, but speed does not remove your responsibility to think. Throughout July, you may have been forced into a period of observation. Plans moved slowly. People became difficult to understand. Answers seemed delayed. You repeatedly asked why something could not simply become clear. Now you may begin to understand that the delay was showing you how you behave when you are uncertain. Do you chase? Do you over-explain? Do you accept less because waiting has become uncomfortable? Do you ask several people for advice until their fear becomes louder than your own judgment? Do you make impulsive decisions simply to feel as though something is moving? July exposed these reactions because August may bring situations where you will not have weeks to recognize them. The lesson had to become visible before the pace increased. This is why August 1 is not an ordinary day. It marks the beginning of a month in which consequences may arrive more quickly. A small decision can create a larger change because several parts of your life are already close to a turning point. You may think the opportunity suddenly appeared. In reality, it may have been developing quietly while you were focused on what had not happened yet. You may believe a relationship changed overnight. In reality, both people may have been moving toward a decision for weeks. You may feel as though you suddenly lost interest in an old pattern. In reality, you became tired of paying the same emotional price. August brings the hidden process into visible movement. The first major shift may happen through your relationships. Someone who became distant could return. They may send a simple message, respond to something you posted, ask how you have been, or speak as though the silence between you never happened. The timing may feel almost too perfect. You are beginning a new month, attempting to move forward, and suddenly the person who occupied so much of your mind reappears. Your first reaction may be excitement. You may believe their return confirms everything you hoped throughout July. Perhaps they finally understood your value. Perhaps the time apart changed them. Maybe the relationship is being given another chance at exactly the moment you were prepared to release it. Remain open, but do not become careless. A person returning is not the same as a pattern changing. Someone can miss your attention without being ready to provide commitment. They can feel lonely, nostalgic, guilty, or afraid of losing access to you permanently. Those emotions can produce sincere words. Sincerity in one moment does not automatically create consistency over time. Listen to what the person says, but pay even closer attention to what they are willing to do differently. Can they describe their part in what happened without turning every explanation into an excuse? Do they understand what their inconsistency created in you? Are they willing to rebuild slowly, or do they expect immediate emotional access because they finally decided to speak? Will the effort continue after the intense conversation ends? The craziest month of your life may begin with someone returning, but the real change will be visible in how you respond. The old version of you may have answered immediately. You were afraid that if you waited, they would disappear again. Their attention felt rare, so you treated every moment of closeness like an emergency. August may show you that anything requiring panic to maintain is unlikely to provide peace. You can take time. A sincere person will not lose all interest because you needed several hours to think. A real opportunity for reconciliation will survive questions, boundaries, and gradual trust. If the person disappears again because you did not offer immediate access, Their return may have been connected more to temporary emotion than genuine readiness. You do not need to punish them. You need to observe. This will be one of the central themes of August. Situations will ask for your attention before they have earned your trust. The month may feel intense because several people or opportunities could appear with urgency. You may be told that a decision must happen quickly, that the chance will disappear, or that waiting proves you are not serious. Sometimes deadlines are real. Sometimes urgency is used to prevent discernment. Ask for details. Read what you are agreeing to. Allow the emotional excitement to settle before making a commitment that could affect several months of your life. Something being new does not automatically make it aligned. Something being familiar does not automatically make it safe. August will challenge you to judge each situation according to its structure rather than the emotion it creates in the first moment. You may have confused emotional intensity with importance in the past. A person made you anxious, so you thought the connection had to be special. An opportunity made you excited, so you ignored the conditions. A conflict made you afraid, so you believed resolving it immediately was more important than protecting your dignity. This month may place those same reactions in front of you, but now you can recognize them. You can feel excited without promising everything. You can feel afraid without abandoning your position. You can miss someone without returning to the same arrangement. You can receive attention without allowing it to decide your worth. That is how August becomes different from every month that came before it. The craziness is not only in what happens around you. It is in the speed at which you begin seeing through situations that previously consumed weeks of your energy. A conversation may reveal in 10 minutes what you spent 3 months avoiding. Someone's response to one reasonable boundary may show you the true condition of the relationship. One practical action may provide more clarity than all the thinking you did in July. You may suddenly understand that you were not waiting for more information. You were waiting for an answer that would allow you to avoid making a difficult decision. August may remove that option. The person may become clear. The offer may receive a deadline. The cost of remaining undecided may become impossible to ignore. This does not mean you must act impulsively. It means indecision will no longer feel neutral. For a long time, you may have believed that avoiding the choice protected you from consequences. You did not leave, but you did not fully commit. You did not begin, but you kept researching. You did not confront the issue, but you replayed it constantly. You remained between two directions. That space may have felt safer because no final door had closed, but remaining there also had a cost. Your attention was divided. Your plans could not receive full commitment. New relationships could not enter because part of you remained emotionally available for the old one. Opportunities passed because you were still considering whether the previous route might reopen. August may become the month when life forces a cleaner answer. You may have to decide what deserves your real energy. Not what you occasionally think about, not what you tell people you want. What will receive your time when the day becomes difficult? That answer reveals your actual direction. You can say you want to build something new, but if every free hour is spent monitoring someone from your past, the past still has control of the future. You can say you want peace, but if every message receives an immediate response because silence makes you anxious, peace remains only an idea. You can pray for financial growth, but if every emotional request becomes a reason to spend or lend money you cannot afford to lose, the increase will have no structure to remain inside. August may bring more, but it will also show you where more would disappear if your habits remained unchanged. That realization can be uncomfortable. You may discover that the obstacle was not only the lack of opportunity. Part of the obstacle was the way you managed what was already available. You had time, but it was constantly interrupted. You had ideas, but you exposed them to criticism before developing them. You had emotional strength, but you spent it repairing relationships that were repeatedly damaged by the same behavior. You had money coming in, but stress decided where it went. Do not use this awareness to attack yourself. Shame will not prepare you for August. Responsibility will. Responsibility asks what part of the pattern you can change now. Perhaps you cannot control whether an opportunity arrives this week, but you can prepare the document required to respond. You cannot control whether someone becomes emotionally ready, but you can decide what access inconsistency receives. You cannot control every expense, but you can identify the decisions being made from fear, boredom, or guilt. The craziest month of your life will not be managed through dramatic promises. It will be managed through practical decisions made while your emotions are strong. August may also create movement in your work or purpose. An idea you nearly abandoned could return with new clarity. You may encounter information, a person, or an opportunity that makes the path appear more realistic. Something you considered impossible in July may suddenly have a starting point. Do not wait for the complete plan. The first opening may be small. You may receive one contact rather than an entire network, one paid opportunity rather than financial freedom, one useful response rather than immediate recognition, 1 hour of confidence rather than permanent motivation. Use what arrives. The mistake would be dismissing a small beginning because you expected August to produce a dramatic final result. Large changes often begin through ordinary actions that do not feel spiritual while you are completing them. You send an email. You organize the information. You upload the first version. You agree to one conversation. You finish the page. Several weeks later, you understand that this small action changed who could find you and what opportunities became possible. Do not overlook the first door while waiting for the entire building to appear. At the same time, do not speak about every early development before it becomes stable. August may tempt you to announce your new chapter because the energy feels exciting. You want people to know that things are finally changing. You may describe the opportunity, the person, the plan, or the financial possibility before the details are complete. Be careful. Talking can create the emotional sensation of progress without the practical foundation. People react. They praise you, question you, or offer opinions. For a moment you feel important because something might happen. Then the work begins. The first stage is usually less exciting than the announcement. It requires repetition, correction, and patience. Nobody may be watching. The result may not appear immediately. If too much of your motivation came from other people's reaction, you may lose interest when the attention disappears. Protect the beginning long enough to build evidence. This is not because every person around you wants you to fail. Some people love you and still cannot see beyond their own fear. They imagine themselves taking your risk, feel uncomfortable, and explain why you should remain safe. Their concern may be sincere, but it is shaped by the life they are willing to live. Listen for practical information. Do not automatically accept their fear as prophecy. Useful advice identifies a specific weakness and helps you prepare. Fearful advice treats uncertainty itself as proof that you should stop. August will require you to know the difference. The month may also expose who can celebrate your growth without attempting to control it. When your life begins moving, relationships change. Some people become more supportive, others become strangely critical. They may make jokes about your plan, remind you of previous failures, or question why you are changing now. They may describe their behavior as honesty while repeatedly placing doubt where encouragement should exist. Do not turn every critical person into an enemy. Sometimes people see risks you missed. Sometimes your plan does need adjustment. Examine the content. Are they giving you information, or are they trying to return you to a version of yourself that made them more comfortable? A useful concern sounds specific. Have you considered this cost? Do you have a backup plan? What happens if the timeline changes? Control often sounds personal. You always do this. You are not that kind of person. You should be grateful for what you already have. People like us cannot do that. August may show you that certain relationships were peaceful only when you remained predictable. The moment you change, the hidden conditions become visible. You do not have to create a dramatic confrontation. Change the level of access. Share less with someone who repeatedly turns your plans into fear. Stop seeking approval from a person who benefits when you doubt yourself. Spend more time with people who can disagree without attacking your ability to decide. This month may rearrange your social world because the direction of your life is changing. Some relationships will grow stronger. They will adapt to your boundaries, respect your focus, and become genuinely interested in the person you are becoming. Others may become quieter because the relationship depended on you remaining constantly available. Let the response provide information. Do not chase everyone who becomes distant. Sometimes distance is the honest result of two people moving toward different priorities. It does not always require anger. You can appreciate a relationship and still recognize that its current structure belongs to an earlier stage of your life. The craziest month may include unexpected endings, but not every ending is a disaster. Some endings release time. Some remove confusion. Some show you what had been held together mainly by your effort. A relationship may not officially end. You may simply stop carrying the entire emotional weight. When you stop initiating, the silence may become longer. That silence can hurt. It can also answer a question. You may have believed the connection was mutual because the person responded whenever you reached out. August may show you what they choose when you no longer create every opportunity for closeness. Do not perform another test by disappearing dramatically. Simply become more balanced. Match effort with effort. Communicate clearly when communication is necessary. Stop doing the part that prevents reality from revealing itself. This principle applies beyond relationships. If you constantly rescue a project at work, allow the system to show where responsibility is missing. If you repeatedly give money to someone who makes no changes, stop protecting them from every consequence. If you always solve family problems, step back enough for others to participate. Chosen ones often become essential because they are capable, but capability can turn into a trap when everyone's dependence is treated as proof that you must continue carrying everything. August may bring an opportunity that requires more of your energy. You will not have the capacity to accept it if your life remains filled with responsibilities that were never entirely yours. This month may therefore begin with boundaries rather than blessings. Do not misunderstand that order. A boundary creates the space where the blessing can survive. If more money enters but everyone immediately claims it, the increase does not create security. If a healthier relationship arrives but your emotional world is still occupied by an unresolved person, you may be unable to recognize the new connection. If a work opportunity appears but your schedule belongs to everyone else, you will call the opportunity impossible when the actual problem is access. August may require you to protect time before you understand exactly what will fill it. You may feel guilty. You may wonder whether you are becoming selfish by spending more hours on your own work, resting instead of helping, or refusing a request you previously would have accepted. Ask whether the boundary is cruel or simply unfamiliar. Are you refusing all support or are you checking your capacity? Are you abandoning someone or are you allowing them to carry a responsibility that belongs to them? Are you becoming secretive or are you protecting information that others have repeatedly mishandled? The discomfort may be part of practicing a healthier arrangement. A person can be disappointed without being mistreated. That sentence may change many of your August decisions. You have spent years attempting to prevent disappointment. You said yes when you wanted to say no. You explained simple boundaries in long paragraphs. You changed plans because another person's emotional reaction felt like an emergency. You believed a good person should make everyone comfortable. That is impossible. Growth will disappoint people who preferred your previous availability. Honesty may disappoint someone who benefited from uncertainty. A financial boundary may disappoint a person who expected access to your resources. Their disappointment does not automatically make you wrong. Your responsibility is to communicate without unnecessary cruelty and remain willing to examine new information. It is not your responsibility to create a decision that nobody dislikes. The craziest month of your life may be the month when you stop arranging your future around other people's comfort. This can create rapid change because many delays were connected to that habit. You postponed the move because somebody wanted you nearby. You ignored the opportunity because it changed the family arrangement. You stayed in the relationship because ending it would create questions. You refused visibility because criticism frightened you. Once approval stops being the central requirement, options appear that were always available but emotionally impossible to consider. August may not create every option. It may give you permission to see them. Financially, this month may also become intense. An opportunity could appear, an expense may force a decision, or you may become more aware of where your resources are going. Do not expect the financial shift to arrive only through sudden money. It may begin through financial honesty. You review the numbers you avoided. You recognize how much stress spending has occurred. You see how often you lend or give from guilt. You understand that one small, repeated expense has become significant over time. This awareness may not feel like abundance, but it is part of creating the structure abundance requires. More money does not automatically create stability. It can increase the size of existing habits. If your decisions are controlled by emotion, greater income may simply create larger emotional decisions. August may teach you to pause before money leaves. Not to become afraid of spending, but to ask what the decision is meant to solve. Are you buying because the item has value or because you need relief? Are you investing because the opportunity is strong or because everyone else appears excited? Are you lending because you can afford to help or because saying no makes you feel guilty? Are you rejecting a useful opportunity because a previous failure damaged your trust in yourself? Use facts, ask questions, do not allow either fear or excitement to replace analysis. The month may move quickly, but your money deserves calm decisions. The same applies to major life choices. August may place you in situations where you feel pressure to prove that you are courageous. You may be tempted to accept a risk simply because hesitation makes you feel weak. Real courage does not ignore information. It understands the risk and moves according to a reason. Panic moves because remaining still feels unbearable. You need to know which one you are feeling. If the decision is driven by panic, create space. Sleep. Ask for the terms in writing. Speak with someone qualified rather than someone merely enthusiastic. If the decision remains clear after the emotional pressure decreases, take the next responsible step. You do not need complete certainty. You need enough clarity to avoid repeating the exact lesson July already taught you. August may also become emotionally unpredictable because the new direction will not always feel better immediately. When you stop contacting someone, loneliness may become stronger before peace arrives. When you create a boundary, guilt may increase before your schedule becomes healthier. When you begin a project, insecurity may become louder before confidence develops. When you reduce distractions, thoughts you avoided may finally surface. Do not interpret every uncomfortable emotion as evidence that you chose incorrectly. The old habit often provides immediate relief. You contact the person and uncertainty disappears for one evening. You say yes and conflict is avoided. You abandon the plan and the fear of public failure becomes quieter. The new behavior may feel worse at first because it refuses the quick relief. It creates a better long-term result instead. This is why the month may feel crazy. You will repeatedly choose between what feels comfortable now and what creates stability later. No one will make every choice correctly. You may return to the old conversation once. You may over-explain a boundary. You may procrastinate for several days. Do not turn one mistake into proof that nothing changed. Recognize the pattern sooner, correct it sooner, continue. Growth becomes visible in the speed of recovery, not only in perfect performance. The old version of you may have lost several months after one disappointment. The August version may need one difficult evening, then return to the plan. That is progress. You do not need to become emotionless. You need to stop giving temporary emotions permanent authority. Perhaps the most surprising development in August will be the return of trust in yourself. You may have spent so long asking other people what you should do that your own decisions began feeling dangerous. One previous mistake became evidence that you could not trust your judgment. You responded by trying to remove all uncertainty. You researched more, asked more people. Waited longer, still the guarantee never arrived. Self-trust does not mean believing you will never make another mistake. It means believing that if new information appears, you can respond. You can change direction, you can apologize, you can leave, you can renegotiate, you can learn without treating the mistake as a permanent identity. This belief allows movement. You no longer require the entire path to be visible because you trust your ability to handle the next part. August may build this trust through small actions. You say you will work for 1 hour and you do it. You promise not to answer while emotional and you wait. You maintain a boundary after someone becomes disappointed. You review an opportunity instead of accepting it from excitement. Each action becomes evidence that you can lead your own life. That may be the biggest miracle of the month, not a sudden external rescue but the end of your dependence on rescue. You stop waiting for one person to give you permission to move. You stop treating every closed door as proof that your future is gone. You stop assuming that uncertainty means God has abandoned the plan. You participate. You take the step available to you and allow the next part to reveal itself through movement. This is practical faith. It does not deny reality. It uses reality without assuming that the current circumstances represent the final result. You can admit that the relationship is unhealthy while remaining open to love in another form. You can recognize that one opportunity failed while continuing to believe your work has value. You can accept that money is currently limited while building habits and skills that support future growth. Faith is not forcing one form to become the answer. Sometimes faith releases the form while protecting the deeper desire. You wanted that person because you wanted love. You wanted that job because you wanted stability. You wanted one exact plan because you wanted freedom. When the form did not work, you may have believed the desire itself had been denied. August may separate them. You can release one person without giving up on love. You can reject one offer without giving up on success. You can change the route without abandoning the destination. This flexibility will become important because the month may bring answers that look different from what you imagined. A healthier person may not create immediate obsession. Give consistency time to become meaningful. A useful opportunity may begin with ordinary work rather than public recognition. Examine where it can lead. Financial progress may begin with protecting what you already have instead of receiving a dramatic increase. A new life may begin with one quiet boundary rather than a visible event. Do not dismiss the answer because it does not resemble the fantasy. The fantasy was created before you possessed the information July gave you. You know more now, your standards are different, your needs are clearer. A form that once looked perfect may no longer fit the person you are becoming. Let the answer evolve. Before August 1 ends, choose one action that reflects the month you want to create. Do not make a list of 20 promises, choose one. If the relationship has consumed your attention, create one clear limit. If the plan has remained inside your mind, complete one visible piece. If guilt controls your schedule, delay one non-urgent response until you have checked your capacity. If money feels chaotic, review one category honestly. If your environment keeps you distracted, protect 1 hour without notifications. The action should be small enough to complete and important enough to create evidence. Once you complete it, do not demand an immediate sign. Let the action be the first sign. The month changes when your behavior changes, not only when the calendar does. Write August will change everything * in the comments if you understand that this does not mean every day will be easy. It means you are ready to stop using the same reactions that created the same results. You are ready to pause before chasing, to ask questions before committing, to protect the beginning before announcing it, to allow disappointment without abandoning your boundary. To take one responsible step without demanding a guarantee. August may become the craziest month of your life because several old structures are close to breaking at the same time. A relationship may reveal its true condition. A plan may finally become real. A person may return and discover that you are no longer waiting in the same place. An opportunity may arrive and require a faster decision than you expected. You may outgrow a role that once defined your value. These changes can feel overwhelming when you view them as separate emergencies. They become manageable when you recognize the central lesson. Protect your attention. Your attention will determine which part of this month becomes your future. Give it constantly to confusion, and confusion will occupy August. Give it to fear, and fear will create another month of delay. Give it to practical action, clear relationships, honest financial choices, and enough rest to think, and the month can produce a completely different result. You do not need to control everything that is coming. You need to remain present enough to choose your response. That is your power in August. People may act unpredictably, plans may change, opportunities may arrive through strange routes, your emotions may move quickly. Still, you can pause, you can review, you can wait until you are calm, you can move when the next step becomes clear. August 1 is not a normal day because you are no longer entering the month unconscious of the pattern. You see it now. You know how the old cycle gains access. It uses loneliness, guilt, urgency, fear of judgment, the desire for immediate relief. Once you recognize the entrance, you can stop opening the door automatically. The pattern may still knock, you may still feel its pressure, but it no longer has the same authority. This is how your craziest month becomes your most important month rather than your most destructive one. You do not need a quiet life to remain centered. You need a clear relationship with your own values. Know what you will not exchange for temporary relief. Know what requires evidence rather than promises. Know which plans deserve protection. Know when helping becomes self-abandonment. Know when waiting becomes avoidance. August may test each answer, not to punish you. To make the new standard real, a standard that has never been tested is still only an intention. Someone may return to test whether your boundaries depend on their absence. An opportunity may arrive to test whether excitement removes your judgment. A conflict may appear to test whether misunderstanding still controls your behavior. The test is not whether you feel nothing. It is whether the feeling decides everything. Chosen one, allow this month to surprise you. Do not enter it assuming every new person will repeat the past. Do not reject an opportunity because the previous one failed. Do not become suspicious of peace because chaos was familiar. Remain open but stay awake. Trust gradually. Ask questions. Observe consistency. Take action. Adjust when reality gives you new information. This is a stronger position than blind optimism or permanent fear. The month ahead may contain a return, an ending, a beginning, and a breakthrough within a very short period. Let each event reveal itself before assigning it a permanent meaning. The person who returns may be ready, or they may be the final reminder of what you have outgrown. The opportunity may become significant, or it may teach you what to prepare for next. The ending may feel painful, but it may release the exact capacity your future needs. You do not have to know immediately. You need to avoid turning the first emotion into the final conclusion. August has begun. The pace may increase. People may change their minds. Hidden information may become visible. A decision you avoided may finally require your answer. What happens next will not depend only on what enters your life. It will depend on what you continue allowing, what you finally release, and where you place your attention when several doors begin moving at once. This month may become the craziest month of your life. Make sure it also becomes the month you finally stop abandoning yourself in order to survive the change.